What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I am your host, Nick Comodina. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Briar Cochran himself. Briar, what's up, dude? Thanks for coming
What's
on.
up, man? Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. It's the first podcast I've ripped in a minute, so I'm excited to
Yeah,
talk some game.
I posted on my story that we were going to do this, and I got a wave of
Really?
responses. Yeah, everybody saying, "Holy shit, this is the collab that we all wanted and needed." So hopefully we don't disappoint.
Yeah, probably
But
will, but hey, who
it's all
cares?
right. I always shoot
Nah,
for
I'm
the
joking.
middle. I never
Yeah.
shoot. I never shoot high. I always shoot directly for the middle. So, do you want to give everybody just a quick spark notes if they've never heard of you before?
Yeah, Briar Cochran. I guess you could say a content strategist, creative director, specializing with personal brands, not necessarily business brands like products and services like that. Short form's kind of the core, but also in my business we have a long form branch. But yeah, I run a content agency called Oakline. Been running it for about 2 years, and that's the name of the game. I have a wife of coming up on what do we got 5 years together coming soon, a 2-year-old and a 4 month old, and I'm out of the great city of Omaha, Nebraska. That's the cliff notes right there. Nothing
I
crazy.
I love it, man. Okay, so you just so I'm orienting properly, right? You run fully organic.
Yeah, no paid ads. We don't touch paid ads. We partner with those agencies to make sure there's synergy between the two. All organic.
Yeah. Okay. So we're very synergistic on that front. I've never paid for a dollar in ads in my business
Yep.
either. So I want to start with that conversation right there because genuinely, I think that organic has become the least tapped in resource in all businesses across the board. And there was just this huge mass adoption of mostly business coaches and ads agencies saying, hey, we have the scripts, we have the ad formats, we have all of this so that you scale on autopilot. And I mean, I know my stance. I'll start with your stance, and then we'll charm in there.
Yeah, I mean, paid ads work. I'm not like anti paid ads. It is just for a significantly smaller demographic than people who are actually ramping paid ads for a couple of reasons. Number one is like if you do not have the skill set of organic, then you don't have the skill set of paid ads. It's an overlapping skill set, communication, pain points in marketing, et cetera. So it's like you can go train the skill set and the intellectual property and get the data on organic for free, which probably takes like 6 months to a year to even be remotely decent at for most people. Then you can go over and not waste money on paid ads. And the second thing is most people don't have a quality following, right? So if you throw paid ads on a following that is not connected with any affinity to the follower, to the creator, then the paid ads bring in shitty followers. Am I allowed to cuss on here? Surely, right? Is that fine?
Absolutely, you're allowed to
Okay.
cuss on here. There's
It brings it
zero filter, bro. We'll talk about crazy shit, I promise.
brings in like you bring in a bunch of shitty followers because paid ads will attract someone who's not like truly a fan of your content, right? And so you get followers. Maybe you ramp up to 100,000 followers just by spending a ton of money on ads, but then they don't really engage with your stuff. So then your page looks weird, 100,000 followers, you're only getting 2 to 3,000 views per video. Are you legit? Are you a scammer? That stuff starts creeping in. And so I see paid ads as like gasoline onto an already amazing fire. Not by any means is it the start of the fire. Right.
Yeah,
So
I would definitely agree. I mean, I personally like my whole business model is you can create $100,000 a month business organically, and then we can talk about ads
dude, I
personally.
think I was literally about to say that. And I think I got that from you. I was literally about to say you shouldn't probably touch paid ads till you hit $100,000 a month.
Yeah,
So I
that's
was,
been my yeah that's been a very specific point in my page for a while. So potentially that was for
yeah,
me.
probably.
And I have the proofs in the pudding. I have multiple clients in all different niches that do 100K months and have hit them, and recurring even at 100K. Like I personally think a 100K a month recurring business, that's ultimate freedom, especially if you do it organically, because you know that you have a product, a service, a message, and a connection to people that is quite literally unshakable. And that's when we even start going into the conversation of having a cult-like following. But you can't build a cult. You can't buy a cult-like following. That's what I'll say. You can buy people, and they get caught in what I call the ads prison, which is where they hire this coach and they're paying them $2,500 a month. And then the coach tells them, well, you need to hire this ads manager, and that's $2,000 a month. And then we need you to spend $4,000 a month on ads. So these people are paying, call it $7,500 a month, just for math's sake, to get clients. and they're making 2x ROAS, let's say. They're making 15K a month and they're going, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. And the issue is once those clients are done, they never resign, or a very small amount resign. And eventually over time, what happens is I think people get so detached from what they're doing and who they're doing it for, because this ads agency is saying, here's the new scripts to run, here's what's working in the audience right now. And eventually over time, this creator or this business owner, they don't even remember what their voice sounds like. So now you're losing clients just as fast as you're getting them. And now all of your profit is going towards paying your team members, paying all of your setters, your closers, and all of these things that you need to, people say like, oh, speed to lead. You need to get to a lead as fast as possible in order to activate them. It's like, dude, sometimes I take 3 days to respond to somebody in my DMs and they still close. And you have to do all of these crazy systems when you're building something that's not fully aligned with what I call like your God mission or your God purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you get organic first, it becomes the amplifier to the paid ads for 3 reasons. Number one is you have data. I know the hooks and the videos that have already worked. So therefore, I'm not going to just get a 2x return. I'm going to get a 6, 8, 10x return. Number 2 is I have the skill set, which I already talked about. And then and number 3 is there's the authority. There's something about already having a cult-like following that whenever people see the ad and they're like, okay, who is this guy? Let me go explore. Oh, wow, there's amazing videos here with high engagement. He's obviously not a scammer or a guru if he has this high of a engagement following, right? And that's the cult-like following. So in a weird way, you can kind of rush it, stay stuck at 2x for as long as you want, ROAS, or you can build an amazing organic and actually get exponential compounded return on your paid ads down the road. But I don't know much about paid ads. That's just my thesis.
I mean, like the same with you is like we have people that we partner with inside of our container. It's like I'm never going to tell somebody don't run paid ads. I'm just going to highlight that there's a path forward that doesn't require them. And I think that sometimes it's almost like a kid starting off brand new in the gym and he's 16 and you're like, well, dude, just hop on test. And
genius idea.
Everybody would say, whoa, that's crazy. Why would you do that? And it's like, well, he's going to get the gains anyways. But everybody would stop and say, you should build a solid foundation first. You should understand the basics of nutrition and timing and training and sleep and rest. And you should do that for like 6 to 10 years to max out your potential naturally. And we can switch that with organically first. And then take test if you really want to go to that next level. Everybody would shake hands and agree on that. But for some reason, once a brand or money is involved, everybody just wants it as fast as possible. Dude, and it's so crazy. I love Threads, the app Threads. Bro, I'd be talking shit on Threads. I
say some crazy stuff on it.
I love Threads. And I'll be talking to people. There was one post specifically. I actually think you liked my response to this girl, where she said, like, there's no way to grow anymore or have consistent sales without paid ads if you're in the coaching space, like the health and wellness space. And I responded, I was like, I have multiple coaches in that space doing 100K a month. I do this much. I don't run ads. And people were literally like, you are so stupid for making that much money and not running ads. You are leaving so much money on the table. And I was like, do you hear what you even just said to me? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I think that there's this massive delusional lens that people put on when money's involved. And it's like some people can't comprehend, why are you not doing everything possible to maximize as much income as you can? And that is the purest signature of somebody who's in scarcity and lack. And that's the exact reason why that type of person can't build a real following, because they don't actually connect with anybody. They just secretly want a sale.
Yeah, exactly. It hurts the long-term benefit of the brand tremendously.
Yeah. So when you take this approach of, testing everything organically and stuff first, what do you think is missing? Or maybe we can riff on what most people are missing when it comes to really creating just call it a content strategy, for lack of a better words, to actually get reliable data to look at and implement, because I do the business aspect stuff, and the amount of times that we hear from clients, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to talk about. And we're like, have you looked at anything that's performed well over the last 30 days? Well, no. Why not? I don't know. I didn't think about it. And it's just like, you know what I mean? So let's riff. What do you think is missing for people to have a content strategy that sticks organically?
Yeah, I mean, not even looking at data is like absurd to think about. I come from a background of like fractional CMO for brands, and it's like the level of marketing prowess over there, if you just move over 10% of it over to organic, it like makes all the other organic creators look stupid. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's like if I would have said, hey, I don't look back the last 30 days of our marketing over for like a company doing $200 million in revenue, I would have been fired immediately.
Yeah,
Like
right.
they would have been like, you are not actually a real marketer,
Yeah,
like
you're
get
literally
out of here.
retarded.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, but I went stupid, just kind of watered it down a little bit.
No,
But
don't water it down, dude. It's okay.
no, yeah, they're literally
Bunch of
retarded,
retards in this audience for sure.
and it's the
They love it.
and it's like because the bar to entry for content is pulling out your phone and pressing record and posting. The level of marketing intellect is so low, it's absurd. It'd be like, have you seen the bench warmers where the kid the guy gives $20 to go play, and he's like a 30-year-old dude playing against 12-year-olds? Have you seen that?
I haven't seen the movie in years, so
Yeah, he gives the umpire $20 a bill and says, "I am 12."
Oh,
And then he
yes,
goes and
yes,
plays.
yes.
Yeah, he plays center field, and he's like hitting a home run every other pitch and like drop kicking kids. That's what it's like to just have like reasonable marketing intellect and moving over to organic, because so many people are just like, there's like random teachers that just like decided to like quit their job because their husband makes a lot of money. Now I'm gonna start posting content, which is great. Like I love it, but you want to like grow in it. So back to your question. Yes, analyzing data for sure is like the bare minimum. But the second thing is most people don't operate from a sense of format heavy like strategy. And so for people like me, you, and Michael, like we don't always copy us because there's a level of like communication that can get away with this Yap or this FaceTime style content. Most people need to drift towards a green screen, drift towards a split screen, in my opinion. And so starting from a visual format like that, and working that into your content strategy is huge. We have
So-
creators who have, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so basically, just so I'm hearing you correctly for people in the audience, so you're saying if somebody maybe doesn't have the best oral communication skills to start, and there's another thread I want to pull on that, but first, you're saying using something like a green screen or maybe even a carousel or just maybe something else that's not that doesn't make them the main hero of the content can almost make up for the gaps that they have in their speaking to start.
1,000,000%. What you can't get across through storytelling, you can get across through visual
Yes.
storytelling, you could say, right?
100%.
I would say carousel, I wouldn't lean that way because now you're still not stretching the muscle of storytelling, so you're not growing in your communication skill as much. But yeah, everything else applies the same. And then the third is most people are not optimizing for their North Star. There's like this disconnect in their head. Like, okay, if I want to make revenue, if I want to monetize my audience, 7-second B-rolls with
Yes.
polarizing on-screen text is not going to make you any
Not going
money.
to do it. No, it's not.
And so they chase views and shitty follower quality, hoping that they monetize because they just don't know any better. And so there's an extreme lack of reverse engineering from a goal or from a North Star into the inputs that you need to actually be having. And so I would say like those three things: not looking at data or competitors' data, like that's like a bare minimum, not weaving formats in. And then the third is not reverse engineering properly from what you actually want out of your content, which is like, these are like the basics in my opinion. But
people miss the basics. That's why
they
they
miss this
struggle.
even to the highest level. Like we will come into a creator who is already doing $250,000 a month, and they're making content about shit that has nothing to do with their offer, thinking like, oh, I'm going top of funnel. Like there's no through line here.
Yeah.
The person who, it's
Through line
brutal.
is always something that I reference. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I want to pull back a thread that we can dive into on like the Yap style content and using green screen and stuff. And you referenced myself, you, and Michael, for example. And what I think all three of us have very, very well is something that I called embodied wisdom. And that's not, it's more of a concept rather than like a declaration that we are wise, if you will. So embodied wisdom is when we pull out our phones and we speak, it's because we are so embodied in what we do, what the work that we do. We're constantly consuming and tweaking things, and we're always searching and looking at data, and we're always in our creative flow, and that creative flow just happens to be tied to the thing that we offer the world right now. And I think so many people lack embodied wisdom. And there's a big difference between regurgitating knowledge that you read and re-explaining experience that you have lived. And you can feel the difference completely when somebody's talking, when somebody's making a piece of content. It's like most people's content, it feels like they're reading like a demand letter from a kidnapper, and they're being held at gunpoint. And they're like trying not to cry. And it's like, hey, pull back and let's just focus on the things that you've actually lived, the things that you've actually seen or put people through. But so many people overcomplicate and overwhelm themselves. One, because it's an excuse to stay stuck. But two, it's like everybody thinks that they need to be creating content and pretending that they're at level 8 when realistically they're at level 2. And if they only talked about what they did to get past level 1, they would hit success out of the park almost every single time.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. This and copying. There's so many people that are just like so afraid of being a level 2 creator that they'll just copy a bunch of other creators. You know,
Right.
It's like, hey, let me go rip this other script verbatim,
Bro,
or as close as possible.
That's one of my common enemies right there. It's the thing that pisses me off as business coach, saying, go look at all of your top competitors, the most engaged videos in your niche, and then just recreate them. And it's like, what?
Yeah, people. The whole point, the reason. Neil, do you know who Neil Patel is? He's a marketer.
I feel like I've heard his name.
He's pretty big, but he did a study probably 6 months ago, and he looked at 1,000 videos that all got over 100,000 views. Okay, and there's two things that had 100%. It was inside of 100% of the videos that did well. That was a brutal way for me to communicate that.
That was rough, but I understand.
He looked at 1,000 videos that all got over 100,000 views, and out of the 1,000 videos, 100% of them had novel information. It was a unique take. It was novel. And so if you copy, you're literally taking away your opportunity for the good video, because first mover's advantage, being the first person to make a piece of content, is what is actually making the video so good. Sure, there's going to be the exception where you copy someone and you get your first good video, and now you're just going to freaking crank your hog to that every day, and you're going to copy that person forever.
Dude,
that's terrible.
The worst thing that can happen, and I say this all the time, is you can use a very poor content strategy and it works right out of the gate, and then your brain creates...
Dude, eyes be insane.
Your brain creates this connection of that piece of content gave me a lot of dopamine, so now I must continue to recreate that over and over again. And now, same thing, you've lost your path. You're not even on your North Star. You're just going, how do I get a piece of content to hit like that again? Because that's what felt good. And the pursuit of engagement is usually what stops people from getting engagement in the first place, right?
Yes.
And you actually made a post a couple weeks ago, maybe. You were talking, I don't remember what you were talking about exactly, but you were talking about maybe ways that you turn followers into ghost followers in your account.
Yeah.
And one of the things you talked about was niche pivoting. And that is exactly what I did. At like 45K followers, I was in the fitness industry for a decade. That was my entire follow. I was Nick the Trainer. That was like all my videos started with, hey guys, Nick the Trainer here. And then I was like, this isn't for me anymore. And I pivoted into what I do now. And for 3 years, my page did not grow at all. I think I went up to maybe like 58K followers over 3 years and just stayed there. And then last year I had like a big explosive 6 months, went to like 100K plus. But my engagement is still garbage compared to what it should be for somebody with 111K followers. But the difference for me is I don't chase the engagement. I chase the conversion of people in that engagement that want to be a part of my world so that I can help them. And so my entire approach to organic content and organic business scaling is, I think people think in order for me to be a successful creator or for me to have a successful business, I must go viral. And that could not be further from the truth. People really distort what's necessary to live your wildest dreams. Realistically, there's not a single person that needs more than 1,000 diehard fans that are buying from you for you to live life completely financially free. But people just can't focus on like a small sliver of people. You know, they get 2,000 views on a video and they go, this sucks, nobody sees my stuff. I'm like, put me on stage in front of an audience of 2,000 people and let me pitch at the end of it, and I'm set for the year.
Right.
Where do you think that disconnect is with people?
Well, it's because they cannot put faces in people behind the views, because you don't always see the faces in people behind the views. So I always ask this question: would you rather have 10 million 13-year-olds from Zimbabwe listening to you give a speech? Okay. Or would you rather have 100 Fortune 500 CEOs listening to you give a presentation?
I would have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Depends on the economic state of Zimbabwe.
My engagement would rip if I had 10 million Zimbabwe kids commenting on it. So it might be worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And to be clear, like, some people can play that game, right? Mass following, low ticket. That's the Mr. Beast game. You sell him chocolate bars. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, dude's crushing. We have a client. I'm going to pull up his statistics right now. He's doing $1 million a month. Just hit it. Super proud of him. He does a full Airbnb. It's a done for you buy an Airbnb service.
Like creating an arbitrage, Airbnb arbitrage type thing?
No, like, let's say you made $3 million and you need to write it off. You work with him and he will consult you to go buy 2 or 3 Airbnbs that year, if that makes sense. Okay. So is that Airbnb? I don't think that's Airbnb arbitrage, right? That's not the same thing, is it? Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. This is his data. So $1 million a month. These are his last views on his last recent videos. 1,222, 2,000, 13,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,500, 3,000, 1,000, 11,000, 3,000, 7,000, 2,000, 4,000. So we could
say this guy is averaging, above all, he's averaging less than 5,000 views a video.
Yeah, his baseline is probably
he's making $1 million a month.
All because of the people who are watching his content are people who have to have at least, I don't know if I should say this, I don't really care. They have to have at least $170,000 of expendable income before they can even work with him.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a layup. Like, if you have 3,000 people who all have 200 grand in their bank account ready to use, that's pretty damn good to me.
You're set. So let's take this a second. Let's go back, because we could say that, and then we're going to have people who listen to this and go, yeah, but that's not my business model. All I have in my audience are people who aren't financially qualified. Every time I get on a sales call, people tell me they can't afford it, which, like, that's a whole other conversation about sales. It's never actually a financial objection, but that's besides the point. I always say it's not a price objection. It's a perceived value objection. It's just they don't actually see the value, and they can't tangibly understand what is going to happen for them, because you're missing the mark in your marketing. 5% of your bandwidth should be towards sales. 95% of your sales should be done in your marketing, your branding, your messaging, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think, like, there's a strong argument to be made. I'm not going to prescribe this as a guarantee, but for a lot of creators, a sales problem can be traced all the way back to a hook problem. And what I mean by that is, like, what your closers or your sales team or the founder sales is experiencing on calls could have been a symptom of someone leaving the gate too open at the hook of a 30-second video from a month ago.
Yep.
Right. So I had 3 videos that I dropped basically back to back. I'm going to change the hooks a little bit for this example. Video number 1, how to unlock more creativity. That's it. Video number 2, how to unlock more creativity as a content creator. Video number 3, how to get your media team to unlock more creativity. You can probably guess which one got the most views.
Yep.
You probably guess which one made me the most money.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
And so for people who aren't having a visual, number 1 got him the most amount of views. Number 3 made him the most amount of money. And so I think whatever route anybody listening to this wants to go with their page and their content is completely fine, but you can't pursue one path and complain about the other path not happening. So you just need to be intentional. My goal, like, dude, I would love to go viral. I would love to have 500,000, 1 million followers. Absolutely. But I want them to be the right kind of followers. And so if you ask me right now, Nick, would you rather have 1 million followers or would you rather have $1 million a month in your business? I'm choosing $1 million a month in my business, 1,000%. If you told me, hey, instead of the $1 million a month, I'll put 1 million completely aligned followers that are all qualified and ideal clients in your following, I would pay you billions of dollars for that to happen, because I know that I know what I could do with an audience like that.
Right.
And so if your intention is, I just want to get views, I just want to go viral because that is the dopamine hit that it makes me convince myself that I've done a good job for the day, then great, that's your game. But don't take that route and then also attach to it misery, suffering, complaining, and anxiety because nobody's buying from you.
Boom.
Per what you just alluded to, the more, we'll dive into this right now, you're not being specific enough, but the more niche that you are with your content and your hooks, the more likely you are to convert people to trust you and buy from you. The more broad you are with your hooks, the more likely you are for people to engage and have an opinion because you've left a lot of room for nuance.
Yep.
So let's dive into specificity, because truly, like, we work with hundreds of clients as well, and we see the whole thing. Everybody tells me, man, I feel like I've really been crushing it. I'm nailing my ICA, and I watch like 12 pieces of their content, and I'm on number 12. I'm like, I don't even know who the hell you're talking to. I have no idea. I'm really big on have a written hook, have a verbal hook, make them two different things, and then you talk about hook stacking as well. And so we can dive into all of that. But when I see somebody's title hook and it's like the number one mistake that you're making to be stuck, I always say this, right? The first thing you say and the last thing you say have to be very, very specific, but they have to be very far away from each other. That way there's a curiosity loop, and your content of what you're speaking should be filling that gap for them. So for example, instead, let's just say this number one mistake is why your girlfriend's losing attraction to you. Now, there's a mistake, clearly, my girlfriend losing attraction, that's specific. And if I'm a guy in your audience who's following you for relationship coaching, I probably have some sort of pain in my life where I am feeling my partner drifting or being less receptive to me. So if I see that, and maybe you could even add, one of my clients just did this, you could add a secondary hook under it. She's desperate for you to understand this.
Yep.
Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to at least give this video 20 seconds of my time. But now you have to be specific in what you're talking about as well. Because if you go, oh man, I have so many people that come to me and they're always asking me these questions and it's about being stuck and they're always wondering why they can't push through this level of discomfort to get to the point where they can sit inside of these uncomfortable situations and make their way out. What?
Yeah.
What? People lose it. People probably just dropped off of the podcast because I was saying that. So when you're really vague, when you have a vague starting point, like when the first thing you say is vague and the last thing you say is vague, there's nothing to tether somebody to care about what's in the middle. There's no understanding. You see what I'm saying on that?
100%. 100%. Yeah, I think in a world where someone is going to scroll past thousands of pieces of content in a day, in 2 days, whatever it is, the only way to stand out is to, I call it like sniping their soul. They have like these things inside of them. You don't know what it is. And if you can pop like that feeling where it's like, oh, that is exactly what I needed to hear. Like I hadn't heard someone say it like that before. That's exactly what I need to hear. That's the feeling that you want to evoke for like most of your content. Sometimes if you're going to like drift towards like top of funnel engagement or entertaining content, then like, yeah, it's a little different. Right. But specifically when you're trying to convert and you're trying to educate and you're trying to nurture middle to bottom of funnel in this example, it revolves around two things: specific pain points, specific dream outcomes. Okay. I'm wearing a wrestling hat. I was a wrestler in college, high school. If you would have came to me and you would have went to the locker room of a Division I wrestling program, the top 0.1% of wrestlers in the nation, and you said, hey guys, today I'm going to teach you how to do a takedown, we would have
laughed you out.
We would have like started calling you like slurs and stuff like that. It would have been crazy.
What
like,
kind of slurs, Briar? Go ahead, let's hear them.
Yeah, just like just retarded, just that one. It's because we learned that in second grade. That's not a specific dream outcome. What we want, if someone would have came in and said, hey, you know, I'm head of nutrition at Harvard University, and I've been studying the depletion of water in a short time frame and how to rehydrate within 24 hours after a big weight cut. Here's the 5-step blueprint after a 8 to 15 pound weight cut that you're going to do to make sure you are back to your optimal hydration state before your match. We'd have been like,
Yeah, I'm
let's
set.
go.
Right.
I'm ready. Like that's what we were struggling with in that moment that we needed to hear.
So
right. So there are specific things.
Let me circle back on this, right? Let me do a callback for this. What you're saying is you guys were at a level 8 and the person who came in was talking to you at a level 2 and wondering why level 8 wasn't receptive. But somebody came in at level 8, and here's the thing is level 8, those people are going to buy immediately, but you alienate levels 1 through 7. So your amount of people that are going to resonate with your message when you're talking at higher levels is lower, but they convert significantly higher. They respect you more. You guys are talking the same lingo. But if you're pretending because you saw somebody else's piece of content and you just say that people can feel the difference. And I think
100%.
What you said was really, really good. Of if somebody came in and said that, the level 8s would have completely laughed you out of the locker room, so to speak. And kind of going back to the point of, I think this might be a definitive statement here, and I might take this back, but if you don't know specifically what is going to make the person you're trying to talk to have that oof moment, you're trying to talk to them at too high of a level.
Yeah, or misaligned. Like you can miss them sideways. It's not always up down, right? What I mean by that is like, okay, let's go back to this wrestling analogy. My current wrestling style leans towards a wrestling move called the ankle pick. It leans really far away from a move called the headlock. If you would have came in and said, hey, I'm an Olympic champion. I won all my matches through a headlock. Here are the 9 stages of the best ways to execute a headlock. I would actually, that's a level 10. That's an Olympic champ. That stuff's technical. It's just misaligned from what I need at that specific moment, right? So this, usually the closer you are to the customer or the viewer and you understand their true pain points and what they're actually experiencing, you know what they need. You know that they're an 100%. Ankle pick wrestler, right? So you can miss sideways, but still be speaking at an 8, 9, 10. So it's not always, in my opinion, like speaking too high. Sometimes it's misaligned, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's a
caveat there.
Yeah, no, definitely a caveat there. I think that there's this convoluted stance of people going into business and saying something like, we'll go into like niches now of like, oh, I just want to help people. And they say, I help people achieve insert extremely vague outcome here. And you read and you listen to their content or you watch it and it's so all over the place. There's no through line. There's no specificity. Almost anybody could watch that piece of content and go, I don't know who this is for. But the creators in their mind think, well, I'm trying to make this content for everybody because they think that the wider the net, the more they ensure that they catch fish. But the wider the net, the wider the holes.
Yep.
And the fish are just going to swim through the net. So when it's coming down to people actually choosing a niche, one of the biggest things that we see a roadblock for people is they go, well, I just don't know who I want to choose and I want to work with. And then they just sit in this state of indecisiveness and they keep making content and they're getting more discouraged because nothing's actually gaining traction. And my whole coaching for people is, I don't care who you're going to work with. You need to pick somebody right now and you need to go all in on that for 90 days. And then you can decide if you want to shift it a little bit. So when it comes to you and how you help people choose niches, what are the main things that you're guiding somebody to do? If they come to you and they're like, I just don't know. I want to offer, let's use like a person who's running like an investment group. Yeah, like they buy in and I teach them investments and stuff, but they don't know who their niche is. Their content isn't hitting. They're making maybe like 10K a month. What's the first thing that we're going to do in order to help them really fine tune a niche so that their content can hit?
Yeah, it's tailored kind of where they're at in their journey. But the first thing is I believe I have a thesis that basically your niche should be as close to synonymous as calling on your life as you can get. And here's why, because I'm so passionate about the compounding growth of creating content for 8, 9, 10 years. Like if you niche pivot a ton, this is just a business principle. If I'm just jumping around shiny object syndrome, going from a junk removal company, then over to a solar company, and then over here, I'm never going to like truly get the compounding growth. I might get really good at like starting businesses, but I might not get the compounding growth that really comes from mastery, right? And so I actually, ironically, I have them read the book Mastery. That's the first thing. It's a book by Robert Greene, and it's like you only have to read half of it, but it's just going to challenge you. Like, what do you want to be known for? Like, if you were to die 20 years from now, what do you want to be on your tombstone? And I also asked this, like, if you were to be interviewed by Joe Rogan in 10 years, you would be known as the what guy, the what girl. What do you want to be in? He interviews experts, right? The alien guy, the whatever girl, right? What do you want that to be? What do you want to be known for? What do you feel like is going to be the thing that, like, if it got tatted onto you, you'd be like, yeah, I can be that person, right? Because if you can work back from there, you're going to win on longevity and being in a niche longer than everyone else, and you expand your time horizon, right? So now if I'm discouraged in year one, it's just part of the game. I'm going to be here for 15, 20 years, right? Just like a business. And so I start there. And then the second one is if they're still unsure, they still read that book and I'm unsure, I would say, like, you can post content and kind of find out. You can find out like what you're able to talk about more often than other things, what you get excited about, what you're better at communicating. But if you post aimlessly for too long, you'll attract an audience that is aimless, right? So it's like, I'm fine with you like shit posting like random niche exploration stuff as long as you don't get big while doing it.
Right.
It's like, as long as you like stay like under 1,000 followers, like I'm okay with you like exploring. But the instant you start catching some traction, it's like,
Yeah, you need to pick.
yeah, you need to pick, right?
Yeah, there was. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you were still.
No,
going.
that's it. That's literally like the 2 steps.
Yeah, there was a point.
And then don't quit.
Yeah, yeah, that one's the most important. But what I was going to say is there was a time, maybe like a year or so ago, year and a half ago. Like, dude, I can make a post. I could do it right now, and I could say, Briar, I'm about to get 1 million views on this post on TikTok and Instagram, and I could make it, and it would hit, and it's me talking about relationship dynamics. If I go on there and I start my hook every single time that prints me 1 million plus views between the platforms is, if a man asks a woman on a first date, should he pay for the bills or not? Yes. And then I start talking about it. No matter what, 1 million views. But with that comes thousands of followers that are horny cougars that are just looking for a piece of meat to chew on, really, if you will. And then I get people reaching out to me asking if I offer relationship advice or if I have a course
or an
for men.
OnlyFans.
Yes, correct. And so I easily can look at that and say that right there is purely a vanity metric if I keep posting that piece of content.
Right.
It's clearly bringing in followers that do not align with anything else that I talk about. I don't offer anything in that realm. Now, does that mean I won't talk about my views of the world around that sometimes? No, of course not. I absolutely will, because the people in my following that are cult-like, they trust me because they also know how I view the world. They know certain stances that I have that are polarizing. And I think a lot of times when you say a stance that's polarizing, people think, well, polarizing is offensive. And I say polarizing is conversational. That's really the word that I try to implement out for that. So I have no problem telling people where I stand and what my opinions are. But the thing is it doesn't matter if a bajillion people disagree with me. I'm not going to change my opinion. That's when you know that it's a good worldview that you can share, in my opinion. And that's what starts creating more of this trust dynamic inside of your audience. Because I think you're building 2 brands at the same time always. You're building your business brand and you're building your personal brand. And if you're doing it right, usually they intersect in quite a few places. But per what I said earlier of, I was Nick the Trainer. My whole personal brand was Nick the Trainer. My business brand was Nick the Trainer. I didn't have Nick. I didn't have Nick Comodina being built. And so I had this mask on of, okay, I'm only accepted by being Nick the Trainer. And eventually that felt exhausting because I was like, I don't want people to just see me in public and say Nick the Trainer. I want people to say, hey, Nick, I love your content. I love what you do. So I had to pivot and start building me.
Right.
And Nick is somebody who I might not do the business side of things forever, but I'm always going to do something. My through line, my purpose, my calling is to help people heal, is to help people overcome themselves, is to help people get out of their own way so they can create the lives that they want. That's my through line. That's my calling. Yep. And I think business is an artistic expression of your gift that you have for the world, your calling, if you will. And then the business that you create is just the vehicle that you use to deliver that gift to people. So I used to deliver that gift through fitness. And I would do leadership development. And I would help people take back control of their lives there. And then my time had come to an end there. And then I got called into this path right now. And now I'm being called to start going a lot more in real life personal events. But the core of what I do and who I serve doesn't change. And I think that's kind of the same thing that you're saying as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like, what do you like? The good thing about a personal brand is it's meant to serve you. It is meant to serve other people, but it's also like for you,
Yeah.
right? So like, my advice is very like financial. Like, yeah, I'm helping you make money and build a business. It's not as much like mental sanity and like expression in a
Yeah.
way. And so, like, the reality is, if you were like, hey, I'm actually going to start helping people heal through pottery, this is my new stage, you're going to have a really strong, maybe 1 to 3 years of restarting the
Yes.
page and re-getting it back up. But if you choose that and you are fully okay with the repercussions of, hey, I'm going to go through the valley of the shadow of death, it's going to be fine. I'm going to push through. And on the other side, this is what I still want to do, knowing that I'm going to probably make less money for a little bit, but in the long term, this is my choice. And you're aware. Most people aren't aware. They make it flippantly. They're not aware of what's going to happen to them. And so, yes and amen, but to the point of, if you went too far misaligned, the good thing is businesses and real life events have like extreme overlap.
Right.
So that's like not as extreme as the pottery example. But even if you did go pottery, it's still
might.
like, yeah, I mean, have you seen some of those things where they're like, it looks sick, spinning in circles? Yeah, just to summarize that thought is like, as long as you have the awareness that like, hey, you're 100,000 followers that came for business are not just gonna like all of a sudden be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad he went to pottery. I will now equally go buy his pottery
Yeah, exactly.
guide. You know,
I think that just like establishing the through line, the North Star, everything that we're saying is like, it allows you to have these lateral movements that aren't completely in a different field of play altogether. Like no matter where you run on a baseball field, you're still in the game of baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard, yeah, Patty Galloway talks. Do you know Patty Galloway? He's a YouTube strategist. He was Mr. Beast's old YouTube strategist. Now he runs a YouTube agency, works with like Red Bull and a bunch of other phenomenal brands.
Cool.
He talks about this inside of a YouTube channel. So he says from video to video, there should be at least an 80% overlap. So like if you make video 1 and then you go make video 2, it's okay if like 20 to 30% don't actually care about video 1 whenever you go make video 2 or vice versa, right? And I think that's like probably true. Like you're not going to absolutely obliterate your follower quality if you change to a niche or a category that like 70 to 80% of your audience still care about. So a really easy example of this is like, if you're in the investing world, you can kind of like go become a Bitcoin specialist, and you can kind of go become a real estate specialist. That's where we're getting a little iffy, but like you're staying in the general
You're still saying an
finance
investment. Yeah.
investments. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm way more okay with that. Even like going to from fitness to nutrition, that's like a 98% overlap, right? If you want to like all of a sudden swing that way. So there's niche swaps that make a little bit more sense. It's whenever we get a little bit more extreme and we're dipping into like, okay, yeah, like 20% of my audience might maybe like this because I'm convinced that they're dudes. And so I'm going from, something that dudes like to another thing dudes like. That's like not always the case.
Yeah. I think we're very aligned on that, because I'll even tell clients if they're like, hey, I want to change my niche, I want to pivot this, even if it is a close overlap to what they're already doing, but it's a completely different angle of messaging. I just tell them, that's fine if you want to do that, as long as you are aware that for the next 6 months, it's probably going to feel like you're not making any progress.
Yeah. 100%.
If you can't stomach that without reverting back, then you're gonna drown. That's what's gonna happen. Because when you post the whole new niche for 3 weeks and nothing happens, and then you try to go back to the old niche and then nothing's happening now again, and now you're freaking out because you're like, neither of them are working. It's like, well, yeah, you stopped doing one, started doing another, and now you're oscillating before anybody even knows what's going on. So you're giving your audience this massive whiplash, and when people are confused, they don't lean in, they lean out.
Yes.
You don't want to confuse your audience. You want to make your audience curious. Curiosity and confusion are two sides of the exact same coin. So it's a very delicate balance to have, because you can very easily confuse people. And that's why I kind of do it like this, because I think there will be somebody on here who's like, well, how do I transition effectively? People just love numbers for whatever reason. So I always say it like this. Let's say that you post 20 pieces of content a week, and now you want to shift your niche into something that is laterally adjacent to what you currently do. So I say, take 17 pieces of that content and keep posting what you know currently works, and post 3 of those pieces of content onto the new thing. Run that for 2 weeks. Then on week 3, go down to 15 and 5, and then go down to 12 and 7 or an 8, you know, and eventually go until it's 50-50, and then watch for a second and see which videos of each are doing the best. Now, which direction do I really want to go all in on? So now I can take the best videos that are performing of that quote unquote old niche, and I can pull that down to like 20% of my content. And then the 80% can be fully into that niche that I want to transition into. So I'm still hitting the old followers, assuming that I still have something to give them. Yep. And now this 80% has slowly built over time. And now I haven't really had much of a dip in engagement or business or anything like that.
What would you say if, let's say I'm in, whatever niche, I'm in the fitness niche, and I get to a point where I hate it so much that I have zero interest in ever being a fitness creator ever again. You couldn't pay me to be a fitness creator. I have made up my mind that I am changing niches no matter what. And let's say I want to move to, let's use investments. Would you also still say, hey, let's do the slow burn over, or would you say, well, shit, you're not ever coming back here, let's just rip the Band-Aid off?
There's you're aware of the hero's journey, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's like a condensed hero journey, if you will, that you can put somebody on when they're absolutely like, if I make another piece of fitness content, I'll literally kill myself. There's something to be said. Oldest rule in the book, honesty is the best policy. And so what I would instruct that person to do is no doctored piece of content. I mean, pick up your phone, put it on your table, and have a full-blown honest conversation with your audience about how you've been feeling, where you've been stuck, everything, and just say like, I have completely lost myself in the pursuit of fitness. And I got to be honest with you guys, like I love you all so much. And I've been continuously posting fitness because that's the only way I know how to connect with you, but it's killing me. And I've always been interested in investments. I've always been, right? And now there's a story. There's me being able to see your character as a person. And in that level of vulnerable honesty, not woe is me, not everybody feels sorry for me, but like, guys, I have to just fucking be honest with you real quick. This is how I've been feeling, and this is what I really want. And like, I just can't keep doing this, but I don't want to lose out on you guys because I love you all so much. And so here's what I think I'm going to start doing as a transition. And if some of you guys don't want to be here and follow along with that, that is totally fine. Thank you for being here on this journey. But I genuinely just feel called for this to be my new path. I don't want to say I'll be done with fitness content forever, but I know right now I at least need to take a break from my mental health. And now I've captured my audience inside of the story of who I am and my evolution. And now, more than likely, they're bought in on what my new path is going to be. One video.
Yeah, the core fans. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's almost like creating a siphon. Like this hero's journey turns into a little bit of like a bridge over instead of a rip the Band-Aid off, or even instead of like a slow burn. I really like that. That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, just like it's like, you know, everything that you want in life is on the other side of having a very hard and honest conversation. And sometimes that conversation is with your audience. Sometimes it's with yourself. Sometimes it's with a spouse. You know, it's like you and your spouse could be like not on the same page for a long time, and neither of you are voicing it, but you can feel the disconnect, and it grows further and further until one of you finally just sit down and it's like, hey, I am so upset because it's killing me that I feel the space, and I know you feel it too, and neither of us are talking about it, but like, I'm not willing to lose you, and I'll do whatever is necessary, right? That one conversation changes everything about what you've all been subtly feeling for the last 6 to 12 months. Your audience feels when you're no longer aligned with what you're talking about, even if you don't think that they do. So I always think that being super honest from a space of groundedness, not from a space, like I said, if you're in the middle of a hysterical cry session, do not press record. Do not press record. Bro, you're laughing. I'm not kidding. I've had clients that have come to us and said that other business coaches told them to get on their Instagrams or their stories and cry so that their audience felt a vulnerable connection to them, so that then they could make a pitch the next day because they would get more engagement. That is real fucking advice from other people in the coaching space, dude.
It's clever. Rude. That's clever. Okay, we can call it what it is. No, that's tough. That's like...
You're like writing down notes. You're like, wow.
Yeah, like, okay, got a big sale coming up tomorrow. Let's, That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know how we got there, but yeah, I like the hero's journey. The hero's journey bridge, because I've thought about this, is like, how do you make that pivot? Do you just say like burn the boats? But I've never thought once about trying to capture your 20 to 30% of core
Mm,
followers inside of your following that love you to death through a hero's journey over. Maybe it's one video, maybe it's like a 3-part series or whatever. And
totally.
then you can kind of move over the next week depending on how.
I think there's something to be said that when you master the skill of sharing vulnerably, it's a skill. The difference between a vulnerable share and trauma dumping for sympathy. When you master the skill of vulnerably sharing and storytelling, there's just something about those pieces of content that hit your audience in such a way. It's almost like another soul sniper, but
Yeah.
near the heart center. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
your soul sniper is more like gut punch, like, oh fuck, you said that.
Yeah.
And this way is more of like a holy shit, I feel so connected to you because you're talking about this right now. And I don't know when you started following me or when we started following each other, but in January I moved into this current spot that I'm in. And it was, big penthouse downtown. And I grew up from a trailer park. Like I've never, ever lived in a place like this. And I started an 8-part series. I didn't know how many parts it was going to be, but every single video was a minimum of 7 minutes long. Crazy. And it
Yeah.
was me. And the title was A Trauma That I'm Currently Working Through.
Yeah.
And all I was doing was talking to people about what was coming up for me in the moment. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so afraid. It was, wow, I'm noticing that once I made a purchase for this apartment, this trailer park kid in me came up and started freaking out and saying, dude, people like us do not belong in places like this.
Right.
And I started creating a story that I was a bad person, and I was feeling super guilty, and that because I spent money on myself, my success was going to be taken away. And I was just telling people, this is what's coming up for me, and this is what I'm doing to navigate it. And I just to show people, it doesn't matter what level you're at, there's always another layer of work that you have to do on yourself. Didn't teach, didn't pitch, didn't anything. I just shared. And that 8-part series, dude, was like my watch time was 70%. It was absurd. And so it's I think there's a really clear feedback system. When you share things that are real, you get real engagement, you get a real response. When you share things that are doctored and forced because you're trying to prove yourself, you get significantly less engagement because you're not being real.
Yeah. What do you think a percentage you thought, I'm sure you've been asked this before, of like how much should be personal? This is something I struggle with. If you look at my page, I have a pretty sterile page. It's a lot of just game. There's not a ton about my personal life. I told myself whenever I get to 50K, I'll start talking more about myself. And I'm still like, I have a little bit
You're at 50K plus, and
I
you
know, I
aren't
haven't
doing
done
it.
it yet. I know.
So you're a
I know.
liar.
I am. It's something that it's coming soon. That's my verbal commitment. I need to just get myself over the hump. My community has definitely challenged me.
What date is soon though, Briar?
Yeah, should we put this on the calendar?
Soon is vague. Let's put it on the calendar.
You're right.
How
Well,
about right when we hang up this podcast, you pull out your phone and you make a piece of content just based on how you're feeling right now, and you don't try to tie it to your business. There's my challenge.
All right. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Done.
Okay, done. Question number 2.
Well, we didn't answer question number
That
1.
you're right. That was not even question.
Your question was
Go back to question one.
percentage
Yeah.
of personal content, right?
Yeah.
So I create this thing. I called it the organic funnel. I'll actually send it to you. I would love to see your thoughts on it. But it's this big, huge funnel document that I created for my clients, basically how to just always know what to post, how to post, and get people along. And I have 3 main pillars of a connection style content: the alignment pillar, the authenticity pillar, and the authority pillar. So the authority pillar, obviously, right? Like what we talked about, embodied wisdom, picking up your phone, dropping a banger about marketing and your business and whatever branding. That's authority content, you showing that you know what the fuck you're talking about. The authentic content is us talking about things that we're doing right now. For example, me talking about me upgrading into this apartment, et cetera. That's authentic. That's me. That's Nick. That's who he is. Another example would be the hero's journey. I'm burning it down. I can't do this anymore. That's authentic. You can also look at this in regards to you sharing, what's the word I'm looking for? You do things for fun. Hobbies. Jesus.
Don't know what those are.
Yeah, what?
All I
Yeah.
do is work.
Yeah, but like sharing your hobby, sharing your favorite type of
Yeah.
energy drink, sharing, like these are little things, and I call them low stake connection points. So if Briar, if you're making this banger post about all of the things you're doing wrong in your content, and I'm in your audience, I might feel stupid because I'm like, I didn't know any of that, and that stupid barrier actually stops me from engaging and commenting on your piece of content. But if you make a piece of content, this is the whole bridge I teach. If you make a piece of content talking about, dude, best 3 energy drinks of all time, not even close. Number 1 this, number 2 this, number 3 this. Don't care what anybody says. What are yours? And now I look at that, the same person who felt stupid, and go, oh my God, I share 2 of his top energy drinks. And I go,
Yeah,
dude,
it's
I'm with you.
connection.
I'm with you on 1 and 2, but I promise you need to try this one for 3. Okay. Something just happened there from a psychological standpoint. This person got over a hump of being afraid to engage, and they engaged. Now, the second part that's the most important is you respond to that person in good energy. And you go, oh, no way. I'm glad that somebody in my audience has good taste. Compliment. Right? Somebody in my audience has good taste, or you could even be like sarcastic to them, and you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize people in my audience were psychopaths like you." Ha ha ha. And what happened right there is they got a response from you, and that built more trust that they are safe to engage with your content. So now the next time you post an authority piece of content, that person might now be brave enough to say, "Hey, I'm a little confused on this. What do you mean?" And now they're warmer in my audience. Does that make sense?
Makes 100% sense.
Cool.
I like that.
And then the last pillar is the alignment pillar. And I call this, right, it's like know, like, and trust, basically. And the alignment pillar, the thing that I talk about the most is like the big sibling frame. So if your audience member was your little brother or your little sister, how would you be talking to them about being stuck in the problem that you solve for people? You probably wouldn't say, here are 3 tips to get over your situation. You would say, hey, look, I know that you keep doing this because you think that it's this, but that's not what's going to change you. You need to do X, you need to do Y, you need to do Z. Otherwise, you're just going to keep complaining. Post. No, and if you want to learn how to do that, right? None of that. It's just like a big sibling talking to them, and that's what gets people to really feel like a sibling type of connection to you in a way. And so if you have those 3 pillars and you're hitting them consistently, like you're building a completely bulletproof personal brand, in my opinion. And so this is where I think a lot of people disagree with me. I think 60% of your content should be split between the alignment pillar and the authenticity pillar, and 40% of your content should be the authority. So I actually think more than half of your content should be connection-based, and then that 40% should be authority-based.
Okay. Walk me through the alignment one again. Would this video fall into that category? I made a video and I start by reading off 1-star reviews from the Grand Canyon. It's like, oh, big rock, 1 star, blah blah blah,
Oh
1
my
star,
God,
1 star, 1 star.
I saw that, dude.
Do you see that video?
That was hysterical. Yeah.
Oh, it's like it's one of the videos I'm most proud of. But then I say, hey, if you're going to make anything great in this world, especially content, you're going to get hate no matter what. There's no tactics in there. There's no super hook stacking, whatever. It's still Ben's content.
Yeah.
Right. Would you think? Where does that fall?
I think like if we go to your question about the alignment thing, main question that drives the alignment pillar: how do I resonate with my people? So you could also take this into like shared backstory. So if I go on my page and I talk about growing up with a single mom in a trailer park without my father, there's somebody in my audience who follows me, they see my business success, and they've created a story in their head that what I have isn't possible for them because they came from a broken home, their father, and they're super fucked up. But the second that I say I grew up in a trailer park with a single mom and my father wasn't around, right? That the spirit, the soul spear, whatever you called it, sniper.
Sure, we'll call it
soul
that.
sniper. Something happened bad in their heart center, and he goes, "Whoa, I didn't realize that Nick had the same upbringing as me." And now there's an alignment that happens. There's this trust that's built, and and they resonate with me more. So I think a lot of times, and for people who are visual right now, a lot of people make content trying to position themselves as the hero up here. Hey, let me show you how to make you guys more like me. But the content that's the most effective is showing people that you are also still like them, even though you have these things that they want. That's what shows them that it's possible. Does that make sense?
That 100%. That's the by far the biggest weakness in my personal brand. It's almost easier for me to help clients get this across than it is for me to execute it.
I
So
mean, dude, welcome to the wonderful world of being a coach, right? You get clients' results better than you do, but that's why every coach needs a coach, right? You can look at other people objectively, but when it's you, we have all of these distortions of our past. We have meta programs, we have memories, we have trauma, we have pain, we have stories, we have all of this shit that comes up and convolutes our ability to do it ourselves. That's why you always need somebody to look objectively and guide you. You know what I mean?
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so what was second question? We really got on a riff there.
I don't think there was a second question. I think I
Okay.
accidentally framed the first question as the second question, but it was actually just one question all along.
Perfect. We are
We're caught up. We're caught up.
complete on that. Okay, so another final leg I want to go into here about how people can position themselves organically. One of the words that I always ring true 100% of the time is embodiment. I think embodiment is one of the most prioritized things when people make content. And the best example you can visually see about this is a fitness, health, holistic coach or whatever it is that is overweight, clearly overweight. And they wonder why nobody wants to buy from them. They wonder why them talking about these topics doesn't get engagement. And I'm just going to be so blunt, and I love everybody here who might resonate with this. If you are overweight and not this like, well, I think I'm a healthy weight, you're not. You're not. Carrying excess body fat is not healthy. It doesn't matter what you say. I don't care what your blood work says. There is a very clear sign. Health, you can see somebody's health based on how they look and how they take care of themselves. If you are overweight, if you are wearing an extra large size pant and you are a female, so to speak, and you are coming on telling me this is what I should do to prioritize my internal health because health matters, I am not going to listen to you in one way, shape, or form because you do not have anything that I respect enough to listen to what you're saying. Same thing could be said for, the business coach who is poor and clearly doesn't have any success, and you can just keep going around and around and around. Most people have the audacity, and audacity can be good and bad, but the audacity to complain about why people don't trust them to take them on a journey that they themselves have not taken themselves on and been able to sustain.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I think I can't remember who says this. It's one of the three guys in my world: Caleb Ralston, Sam Gaudet, or Ronnie Mitchell. One of them says the cheat code to a personal brand is just being great at something, like just actually being in the top 1% at whatever you want to talk about, right? Actually having a top 1% physique, actually being in the top 1% of a marketer, actually being the top 1% of tax strategy, whatever it is, right? Like that is the cheat code. Now the good news is you can actually develop. Social media is wired where you can actually develop that skill as you build your personal brand. So it doesn't have to be like, I'm not telling you, hey, don't create content until you're one of the best. What I am telling you is what you talked about. Show people the journey as you're going from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 4 to 4 to 5, right? Unless you have some insane amount of charisma and sense of humor where people actually gravitate towards like you as a person over the journey you're going to take them on. Right? Like if that person was like extremely fat, but they were also funny and said that they were really fat, they still wouldn't be able to sell fitness coaching, but they would at least be able to maybe like
they'd have a personal
build
brand.
a following. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it also comes through in the topics you select and your ability to communicate what you want to communicate in videos. Like, you said embodied wisdom. It is like, I have a thought from a coaching call that I then solve in my head based off of 15 previous coaching calls or experiences or posts that I've posted. I formulate an opinion or a technique on it. I then harden that technique by communicating it to my team members or whatever. And then I go make a video about it. And it's not like it is strictly from who I am, a problem I've solved, my intellectual property, things that I have observed. And then because of that, I communicate it better. I don't stumble over my words. Michael talks about conviction, communicating with conviction, right? Conviction is the downstream of phenomenal communication, in my opinion. The more passionate you are about something, the easier it is for you to communicate without
1000%.
sounding like a robot or whatever, Like there are videos. What's funny is like the hook stacking video. It's actually one of like my lower I stumbled over my words a little bit, repeated some sentences because I actually don't teach hook stacking a ton.
Yeah.
Right.
That
I do a
sense.
little bit.
Yeah, that
and it
makes sense.
happened to strike because it was a topic that people really cared about. Right. But if you go look at me talk about formats or data, oh dude, I'm I
Oh,
have
you're locked in.
examples, I have analogies, I have frameworks, I have all this shit because I've communicated so many times about it, right? And so this actually turns into this transcends. I'm specifically talking about through a verbal communication style, but like same thing happens with your business, your body, whatever it is. If you are leading from a or communicating or selling from a place of exaggeration, you're fucked. You're screwed. Like you will get found out. But it's not even about if you get found out. Like it's pretty clear whenever you start to communicate, you don't fully hit the exact niched words that the people at the top like get. Right? There's certain words that you can't like really know unless you're in the game.
Right.
You know? So or you're like hitting on a problem that like people don't actually care about. It's kind of like a sub problem. So they're
Yeah,
like, oh
it's
yeah,
like
like thought about that like at one point, but I don't actually care about it like that much.
right. I know we keep referencing like the fitness side of things. I think it's the most easy thing for people to conceptualize because everybody is living in their body and eating food at all points in times. And it's kind of like the fitness coaches that are saying, oh, everything's super saturated. And it's like, no, you're making a piece of content saying, here's how to get 20 grams of protein in your day. And that's just not a problem that most people need solved anymore, that they can't just solve on their own. And
Right.
I think there's something to be said. I just made a YouTube video about the psychology of building a cult-like following. And one of the things I talked about was letting people fall in love with the way that your brain works. And you kind of just said that in a way without saying it, is you're taking your interpretation of things and you're making your view and your framework or your breakdown of how you see it instead of trying to fit into what everybody else is saying. People hire you for your mind more than anything else. But if you don't let people see how your mind works because you don't give your mind an opportunity to work because you're too busy copying what everybody else is saying, same thing, you're not going to build people that are loyal to you. So just regurgitating the same bullshit or asking ChatGPT to script your content and just going through with what it says and going, wow, this really sounds like it's my voice. It's not. And if you don't have a mind that really is expansive in its thinking or very creative around what you're doing, I personally don't think that you're doing something that you're passionate in.
Right. Or you're not taking it serious enough. Right. But what you just described is probably the best summary of what has changed my life through my personal brand is people being like, whoa, Briar, I've never heard anyone think about content like that and communicate content like that. Right. It's probably why I'm on this podcast, trickled down effects, maybe from, it's why Michael followed me, then you, sir, maybe you guys, I don't really know how this all came together, what made you reach out to me. It's probably some form of that. I closed the guy into my agency, which is a $10,000 product or service in 3 DMs. 3 DMs. Hey, do you have done for you work? Yes, I do. What do you need help with? This. Here's my price. Done. Send the link.
Yep.
That was literally the full text. And it is because this person had been like, that dude thinks differently about content. My problems match how he thinks differently. I've worked with other people. They think
like
over here, and they weren't able to solve the problem. They weren't able to solve the problem. They're thinking we weren't able to solve the problem. I need something else. I need something else. Boom. There I am. Let's go try this guy.
100%.
Right?
It's funny. I have an identical story of actually another business coach reaching out to me, and she reached out to me and was like, hey, I obviously don't need business tax. She makes endlessly more money than me. And she said, I see what you're doing on socials. I don't know how to do that. What are your rates? And I sent her a list of all my rates, and she said, send me the pay in full for 3 months.
Yeah.
4 messages.
Done. And it's because of people, like, it's literally down to like niched words. It's just words. Like nobody before me that I know about, I'm not even kidding you. It's like, it's weird. It's like nobody I know that I'm aware of was talking about data and content online as much as I was.
Yeah, or maybe
Right?
in
So
the
me
way
just-
that you were talking about
In
it.
the way that I was. So like even
Yeah.
just saying like people were talking about like retention graphs and all that stupid shit. But just like, hey, I know how to analyze data and as a content strategist.
See, but
They're already
let me highlight something for people viewing or listening to what you just said. You even like subconsciously were still in your genius of jargon without even saying it because you were like, oh, these people are posting like something spreadsheets and whatnot. That's bullshit, right? And like that wasn't even something that was in my mind whatsoever about that. But because it's so organically ingrained in your mind, you're even saying things that show you're an expert without even realizing you're saying things that show you that you're an expert.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes from a deep understanding of the field, a deep understanding of the craft, a deep understanding of the competitors, a deep understanding of the niche, your positioning, yourself, who you are as a human being, what you provide to the world, you know? So I think if I had to summarize that, it's like I want more creators to treat content less like a hobby and more like a professional,
Mm-hmm.
more like a top 1% athlete that comes in, watches the game film beforehand, creates these exercises for themselves, reads the feedback, watches their own film, goes and gets the mentor, does the off season training, doesn't take days off, early mornings, late night, diet is dialed, rehab is dialed, mobility is dialed. All of these things play a part
Yeah.
into your product and who you are as a personal brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want to build a life that's giving you opportunities and financial freedom and time freedom and location freedom, why do you think that's not going to be on the other side of making sacrifices in the short term? One of the
Yeah.
biggest things we hear is people saying like, content stresses me out. It's not good for my mental health. I don't have the time. I have kids. You don't understand. And I'm like, dude, we have on my staff, we have Ashley. She's a mother of 4 and is the single income earner for her entire family, husband included. Husband's great, but he stays at home with the kid. And she just rips content. She runs multiple businesses. She mentors inside of my container as well. So using somebody like that as like an example, because most people use kids as an excuse. And it's like once you see that somebody else has your situation, if not a more intense situation, they're doing the things that you say you can't do, you have 2 choices. You either keep pretending that your lie is real, or you actually say, okay, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. And,
Yeah.
just like you alluded to, a professional athlete wants to be the best at what they do, and they want the life that comes with that, so they're willing to sacrifice. Call back to what we originally talked about. If you don't want to do that, that is totally fine. Don't expect a life-changing result without
Boom.
changing your life to get the result.
Yep. And
That was
even if
actually
you
a banger.
can't find
I'm gonna
that
make that a piece
was
of content.
come on now. Even if you can't find the person in your life or in socials that has your scenario, like the kids or whatever, the algorithm and the market capitalism does not care. It does not give a
Mm-hmm.
fuck that you have one leg and one eye and 4 moms instead of a mom and dad, and you were raised in Appalachia and you only ate Kentucky Fried Chicken until you were 19. Nope, literally nobody cares. It's like, can you make great content and
That
provide a
felt
service
oddly
for money?
specific for somebody.
Hey, if the shoe fits. I'm joking. Anyways, that was a little tangent.
Honestly, I think that was a good place to kind of close us out here. We're a little past. We're gonna stop with KFC until you were
There you go.
19. Briar, let's riff. One last thing that you would say that you don't think we've covered yet. Advice for the people listening to this that are just like, man, I'm struggling so hard with organic content.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get a little spiritual for a second.
Oh, a little authentic, huh? Look at
Oh,
you.
no, no, no. If the content will really turn into a mirror for how you view your self-worth in the world. If you find yourself not posting because you're afraid of views or how you look or what the low engagement is, you're not willing to go through the hard time. It's usually a reflection of you attaching this like external validation of who you are onto yourself. And you have to rid yourself of that some way or another. Like I try my best to detach from what the algorithm says about me, from what my revenue says about me, and attach it to what Jesus says about me. That's how I find that avenue. Like if he says that I am all of these different things, then who cares if I have a video that gets underneath 5,000 views? It's just like not that big of a deal. Wake up, do it the next day. But you have to go through this exposure therapy to really find out who you are and heal as an individual and become more comfortable in yourself. And like, even if you never got a single dollar or a single follower, it will be one of the greatest adventures you go on because you will be a better person on the other side.
Absolutely beautifully said, man. I mean, that's the ethos of my entire company is what you just said, man. So I resonate crazy well. If I had to say anything, and I'd also get a little spiritual here, there's something about your calling, right? Your purpose, your calling, your mission, your vision of the world that you have to realize eventually that it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about something that's significantly bigger than you. But if all of your decisions are oriented around how you feel or how you might be perceived or whether or not it's going to work for you, then you are self-orienting your entire life. And that is the fastest way to make sure that all you ever have is just enough to barely get your needs met. That's how the world works. Whatever you focus on, if you focus on meeting the needs of 1 million people, your needs will be met times a million. If you just focus on meeting your own needs, then that's all you'll ever have and it won't be in excess. This world and God created us to multiply, not just with like in a love sense, but to multiply his mission through us, to multiply your reach, to multiply his influence and multiply your gifts to other people. And if you're not doing that, then of course it's not going to work. There is no path of certainty that is also the path of faith. Right? Those two things cannot coexist. And so if it feels uncertain, good. That's exactly where God's calling you to go. If it feels like you don't know where it's going to lead, perfect. That's exactly where God is calling you to go. If you stay stuck in the me bubble, you'll never have influence and your life will never change.
100%. Couldn't say it better.
Cool. All right, brother. Well, thank you for the conversation. That was fantastic. Guys, if you're this far in and you were born in Appalachia and you've been eating KFC until you were 19, give us a call. We'll have you.
I'll do a free one-on-one with you.
Dude, we'll do a two-way call with you, honestly, because you need a lot of help. Briar, where can everybody find you, man?
Yeah, just Instagram's probably the best place. First name, last name, Briar Cochran. Feel free to DM me. If you just drop in Nick as the first word, I'll reply to every DM I get over the next 7 days and hit up any feedback that you guys have.
Appreciate that, man. All right, guys.
Cool.
Thanks for being here. And if you guys liked the episode, do me a favor. Take a screenshot, tag myself and Briar on your Instagram. Give us some external validation because it feels good.
We're really insecure. And even though I said that, it's actually not very good at it. So
see you guys in the next one.
See ya.